It's the whacked out news. People breaking the law. Ha ha, fighting in the nude. Ha, drunk people pooping in the street. Ha ha, it's the whacked out news. Huh, so many people on meth. Ow!
Well, a lot of crazy stories to get to here. Being off 10 days, there were just so many things. I'm like, as I was out of state, I'm like, yep, you know what? Florida's still Floridan.
Florida is doing fine without me.
Florida's still Floridan.
It's being itself.
Just crazy stuff. The one story that jumped out, my family were talking about the entire trip, was that guy that was golfing in Palm Beach Gardens, and that dude came onto the golf course and beat him to death with his own clubs and drowned him in that pond.
It's a horrible story.
It's unbelievable. But I mean, it's like you're at a peaceful country club in Palm Beach Gardens, and some dude comes up and grabs your own clubs and start hitting you with them. And then I'm like, that was an insane story. I'm like, what the heck was that, man?
Did they have beef? What's the backstory?
I don't know. The guy was 65. The dude who did it was like 36 or 38, something like that. And I don't know of anything. Now, the guy who was like 36 or whatever, he had a pretty long rap sheet. And I think a lot of drug issues. So I don't know if he was on something. And that's what got him to do that. But man, it was crazy.
I heard the details about that story, and it made me feel very weird in my stomach.
Oh, it is.
Because
It's horrifying.
life changes just like that.
Well, that's just the whole thing. Like, okay, you wouldn't. Is there any other? I mean, aside from maybe a gator might get you, or an errant ball conking you in the head, you would never think you get beat to death with your own clubs on a golf course in Palm Beach Gardens, right?
That's rough.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was insane, but I haven't heard a lot of follow-up details on what that was. But man, that was crazy.
I would like to hear the behind the scenes on that one.
Yeah, I think hopefully it'll come out and we'll have, because obviously I think for everyone else, I mean, just a terrible way to go. My sympathies to that man and to his families. It's just, that's horrible. But you also think for yourself, be like, okay, what do I need to be aware of? And
right,
wow.
what went down so that we can make sure this doesn't happen in any of our lives or any of the lives of people that we know that golf.
And it sounds like it's kind of a long process of what happened. No one saw anything going on, or no one tried to intervene.
The big question, we asked, like, okay, he wasn't playing alone probably, so who was in his foursome, and did no one step in? Because to me, you'd be grabbing your own clubs and trying to swing him at this guy and distract him from, going after your friend. I don't know. That's all the details I think everybody wants.
And you can play by yourself, because I remember members at the old, but you're right. Typically, you'd have at least another person you're playing with.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out for any upcoming details, because that was our question. All we have is questions and really no answers, but like, well, there you go.
If anybody knows the answers, feel free to send them mail at kvjshow.com.
Yeah, right there at Sandhill Crane. Crazy. And then the other insane story, this was in Winter Park. Did you see this 47-year-old Sarah Boone that got life in prison for suffocating her boyfriend, 42-year-old Jorge Torres, to death? She zipped him into a suitcase. I guess they were drinking, and there might have been arguments about infidelity or whatever was going on.
Look, that story right there, I know what you're talking about. That she tried to tell the cops that they were playing hide and seek, and she killed that guy.
Yeah.
How did she get him in the suitcase?
I think, to what Kevin's saying, they were drinking and either playing a game.
I think he kind of put himself in there, and then I think she zipped it up, and he's like, all right, let me out. And she's like, no, huh? And then she started bringing up, you did this, and now it might have been you apologized. I don't even know what happened. That's what I don't know. All I know is she got life in prison for it.
The body cam footage is insane.
Yeah.
Really?
Just you see her trying to go, oh, yeah, I didn't, we're just playing a game.
She said that she was a domestic violence victim and was acting in self-defense, but it didn't go her way in court. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean, just one insane story after another that's going on here. And how about this? Thankfully, I don't think this was in Florida, but another kind of thing where just an axe-wielding maniac stumbles upon a church trying to burglarize it, and the pastor actually has to step in and try to intervene. Thankfully, he had some fighting skills himself.
Good for
I shouted at him to stop, and that the police were going to be on the way, and I grabbed a hold of him, and we ended up wrestling in the parking lot of the church. I've studied in some jiu-jitsu and some kickboxing, and have a mixed martial arts background, and so it was very helpful to be able to grapple with this gentleman without having to do much harm to him. It was just ironic that if he would have just come a couple days earlier, he would have been able to be blessed and get some food, but he decided instead to smash windows and desecrate property and do something that's going to hurt the ministries.
Wow.
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
Preacher
Crazy.
ass whooping is what he got.
Yeah, I mean, you never know when a pastor's going to have an MMA background.
That is impressive.
Yeah, no doubt. And there's another crazy story going here of a man that was wielding a chainsaw in St. Charles, Illinois. He was at a senior living facility, and the cops said, nope, not today. And they just shot him dead.
Whoa.
Oh, this is a twisted, whacked out news today.
He was threatening residents with the chainsaw, and they tried to de-escalate the situation, and he wasn't having it.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little nervous if you threaten you with a chainsaw.
Was he having like a mental health crisis? Because
That's just it. With a lot of these stories, you just don't know what it is. You're just saying, wait a minute, how many maniacs do we have just walking around in society?
And those are all bizarre, weird stories, too.
Yeah, they're just all like, wait, what's going on here? Oh. Yeah, crazy stuff. So yeah, that's the whacked out part of your news. There's some other interesting things that are going on, including this woman who got all loopy behind the wheel and started driving around, which you can't do. She was all hammered when the cops pulled her over, and she can obviously hear the drunk. It is all up in her voice here. She was actually out on an airport runway, and they're like, okay, that person is not driving well.
When you were drinking, were you just drinking at the hangar? Or okay.
But I wasn't driving.
Okay, but you were just parked and drinking?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the gentleman that stopped you while you were on the road here?
No. Like, I don't even know that guy.
Well, I know. They don't really know you either, other than they saw you driving. And the fact, too, I think...
didn't do it.
I got you. The control tower called us saying you were blocking the runway and driving around on the runway.
Oh, boy.
girl, the fact that you don't know the people pursuing you makes no difference to the story.
Wow.
I don't know him, so I couldn't be guilty.
That's how similar
That
it
is some drunk ass logic.
It is.
Well, I don't know the cops chasing me, so I couldn't have done it.
Wow. How about that, huh? That is crazy. And how about this person? They decided to go out and jack a car and then write about in their diary, and that's what did them in.
Whoa. You big dummy.
That is Vanessa Guerra from Minnesota. She got arrested by police for auto theft. And for evidence, they looked in her diary, and she wrote, "Totally stole a car today, something I never thought of doing."
Well, you just made it really easy for the detective.
Yeah, and she didn't steal nice cars either. She stole a Ford Freestar worth $2,000.
Why?
Yeah, and then she scrapped the vehicle for cash near her house, and that's how it all kind of went down.
She needed drug money.
Probably.
That's just dumb.
Yeah. This is kind of a crazy thing, too. In Washington State, there were 3 dudes. They stole an excavator to steal an ATM and then load it into a truck. And then the police show up when they've got it in their truck, and they start this chase. 3 people wearing ski masks and dark clothing. The officers arrive just as they're pulling out of the parking lot.
Oh, dang.
When the driver notices the patrol car, they all speed off, and all they had to do was get to the city limits. And once they got there, I guess the cops had to stop because of jurisdiction issues, so they got away.
What?
Yeah, they stole from a construction site. I'm like, that's insane. I thought you could. I didn't know it was like that. You got to stop right at the city limits.
I wonder if it's like that for every area.
Wasn't it like that on Dukes of Hazzard?
I think it was. That's it. The Duke boys always just had to make it to the city limits, and they're always safe.
But that's not real, right?
I didn't think so, but then I see that story. I'm like, I guess it is.
It's got to be real. It was also in the movie Porky's. Same kind of thing where they couldn't.
They don't have like Florida Highway Patrol, like those patrolmen patrol all the whole
I
state.
thought you always just called over to the next jurisdiction. They'd be waiting for them right there. But
right.
Apparently not.
Huh.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, huh? And then there was a story about a 12-year-old kid in Washington State that took his grandfather's Volkswagen hatchback on a 160-mile joyride. This was the day before Thanksgiving. The cops tried to follow him. Took 2.5 hours up I-90.
Whoa.
And pre-Thanksgiving traffic.
That's crazy.
That's a kid that might be grounded. And how do you feel about the upcoming year we have? People are noticing that we start off the calendar year in 2025 with a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then they look at that and say, wait, that's a W for Wednesday, a T for Thursday, and an F for Friday. WTF. The last time that happened, 2020.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Do not take me
Dun,
back.
dun, dun, dun.
Oh, Kevin.
Yes, can't do it.
Hopefully it's just an odd coincidence.
Yes.
Oh.
This is how we do. It's the KVJ Show.